It has been a jam-packed week full of adventure, couple hurdles thrown in the mix, but overall it's been a joy. So we just didn't know how to format this video because there's been so much that we've captured. So we thought we'll do a sit-down catch-up and just talk about like our wins, our struggles, our highlights. So what was your win for the business for the week?
This week, one of the wins were the response that we got from our clients in the studio. And I guess just for a quick recap for people that don't know, if they haven't seen our other videos, we have a business back in Australia which is called Flavor Studios, and it's a content creating space. So it's a space that we created that's curated with cool backdrops, vintage props, cool couches, so a place where people can bring their ideas to life. And the win for the week was just some of the replies we got from our customers saying they loved the space, they loved how it was a seamless booking system through our website portal, and just the stuff we had inside the space. So that was a win for me this week.
A win that I had this week was a funny one actually. We got our first collaboration offer through our YouTube, which I think is so epic, and it just goes to show the power of putting yourself out there, because we've only got 31 subscribers, but this to me says that the 31 subscribers that we do have are valuable. And we got a really aligned offer hit us up, which we won't go too much into, like we'll save that for the future. But what was so funny about it is I've received a few faulty collaboration offers in the past and got myself excited about them. And it will be saying like on behalf of like say a dress brand or a swimmer's brand or something. And then I always, before clicking on any link that's in an email, like to go onto the social media pages just to check that it's legit. And I did this time, and I noticed that the email that we received was different to the email that they had attached to their social media. So I just assumed it was faulty. So I screenshotted it and I sent to the brand, and I just said, hey, just want to let you guys know that someone's been a bit like faulty on your behalf. Like they're giving out like false collaborations. Like obviously I'm not harmed by this at all, but just wanted to let you know in case they're like defaming your brand. And they're like, oh, actually, that's genuinely from us. That's someone from our team. So I'm like, that is so funny, but what an awesome thing to receive. And another part of that win is we've had a few family members really show their support and say like, we're watching all your videos, we're loving them. And that just feels so special to feel supported by family at home. And for all our nieces and nephews that might be watching this, we love you so much and we hope you're having an incredible week. And what a blessing.
So good. Yeah, it was pretty funny when you were saying it, because we were both like, oh no, it's another false thing. And then we realized it was a legitimate thing. We were like, oh my God, this is pretty cool. And the fact that we've only got the 31 subscribers, I guess our meaning and the content behind it has triggered something in someone to want to hit us up, which is cool.
Yes. What was your highlight this week?
The highlight of the week was I've finally been able to do some surfs, which is awesome because I've been wanting to surf for the last couple of months since we were back in Bali. And very surprisingly, Da Nang has some really good surf. So like the first 2 or 3 surfs that I had were just good size, maybe like 1 to 2 foot, really nice and calm, a little bit windy on a couple of days because toward like the weekend that just passed, there was a massive storm that came through. And then the day after the storm, I went for a surf and didn't look that big. It looked just like normal size, like, between maybe 2 to 3 foot. But when I got out there, it was freaking solid. It was like 7 foot waves coming through on a shallow bank. But it was really fun being out there. And then another win would be...
Your highlight.
Another highlight would be going to Ancient Town, which Jess will explain more, but it's a place called Hoi An. They also call it Ancient Town, but that was also a really fun win.
Yeah.
A really good highlight.
Yeah. That Ancient Town was definitely one of my highlights as well. There's like yellow buildings, flowers everywhere, lanterns, so many people, street music, street artists, boutique shops. It's really, really beautiful. If you're in Da Nang, it's like 40 minutes outside of here, and it's worth the moped cruise. And we spent 5 hours just exploring the streets. And what I love the most is a space that inspires me to get my camera out. And I was just having so much fun just snapping up shots. And another highlight of the week was definitely my brother meeting us here from Australia. So he's met up with us in Da Nang, and it was just so cool the first day, like having him follow us on his moped, and we're like traveling around the mountains, and it's just a pretty awesome way to make new memories. So that was definitely my highlight.
And to add as well, Ancient Town Hoi An is known for getting custom clothing and suits made. So like we didn't get any just because we don't really need a suit, but you can pretty much get a full suit made, fully tailor made for like under $100 Australian, or what is it, like 100 US I think it might have been.
Yeah.
And you can get women's clothing, men's clothing, heaps of leather stuff, like custom leather bags, custom leather shoes, which is really cool to see.
And it's actually quite stylish. Even from a lady's perspective, the ladies' dresses are a little bit unique and they look really well done.
Yeah. And also to add, when we were heading to Ancient Town, we stopped at a place called Marble Mountain, and which is, the whole mountain is pretty much made from marble. And then at the very bottom, they got like stalls of people that have made little like souvenirs of like Buddhas and Buddha heads and what the temples look like up on top of the ancient mountain. But what we didn't realize, when we thought it was just going to be like a temple and you sort of just like go look at the temple and go back down, but there was a full cave system that we went through, and like we had to crawl through, and I had my bag, my laptop, our iPad, our camera,
heavy.
all this stuff in the bag, thinking we're just going to see this temple in a mountain, but it was a kind of like a full hike. And Jess and Alex just had their tongues on, and it was like there was parts you had to crawl through a little hole and slippery rocks, and there was water, but it was really, really cool. And it was just, I think some of the stuff said there was writing on the walls from the 18th and 19th century, and the stuff was still in really good condition.
We were unprepared for that, but even though we were unprepared, it was such an awesome experience. The caves that we got to crawl through, and the details of like the statues and the temples that were inside this cave, and the way the like light was shining through the ceiling, and you get to like burn some incense and leave a little prayer, and it was just a really cool, unexpected experience for us. What was my hurdle for the week? We had a messy guest, which happens every now and then, but it does really suck because it takes, like, we've got a professional infinity room cyclorama in the studio, and it's one of the biggest assets for people who have a booking because they can do like seamless invisible background for their advertisements or e-com shoots. And sometimes if people are rough and not mindful, they can like chip the plaster, and then we have to get it replastered and repainted. And when we're on the Gold Coast ourselves, it's a chore, but it's like we can get it sorted in the one afternoon. But when it's not us, it takes like resourcing, who's going to putty it, who's going to paint it, and also it affects the guests that come after that person. So sometimes you walk in there and you don't even know someone's used the studio, but other times it's like, did they just like crap in their hands and swing it around the room? Like, it's like sometimes it's a bit heartbreaking to walk back into, and we have one of those this week. So the solution is to prepare for the worst, have someone on call, which we are lucky to have someone on call, but just to systemize it a bit more and just expect that it's going to happen every now and again. Last thing was, what did you learn about Vietnam this week?
So I did another cool thing is I did a jiu-jitsu class that they have here in Da Nang, and I believe the owner he's brought himself and his family over from America. So it was a good conversation. They've been here for about 2 years. So after the roll, I just had a chat to the guy just to ask him about places we can get quality water, like food, coffee, things like that. And I just got chatting as well about the country itself. When we first arrived, we were very surprised of, like, it's quite a clean place. Obviously, you still do see here and there little things of like, I don't know, like rubbish or just things being a little bit out of place, but it's definitely a lot cleaner than Thailand and Bali. So we were like very impressed with how the government sort of, I guess, has more, they can pay more people to keep the streets cleaned. And one of the other things that we were saying, we didn't see one homeless person, or we haven't seen a homeless person. We haven't really seen any even like little, what are they called? Like shelter shack things made. And we were like, wow, like I wonder if people just have like better homes here. But they were saying like, they don't really want people to see homeless people in the streets. So they kind of get taken and put them into like different areas that are sort of for homeless people. Now, we don't know if those homeless areas are like, I guess, quality for the homeless person, or they provide shelter and these type of things, but the positives and negatives that we've heard has been kind of like they get put in a place where they can get a little of support, and the other negative has been like the communication. They kind of just get taken and put in these areas, and a lot of these areas apparently are the Agent Orange areas where happened like through the bombings of their war in the past. So, but obviously we don't know. This is just what we've heard through a couple of people that we've met from locals and foreigners. But that was quite interesting to find out as well.
This is just based on a couple people's opinions, but it was interesting because our last video, if you were watching it, we were talking about, wow, there's so much government assistance. They've got clean parks and, oh my God, you've got like hardly any homeless people. And then finding out that, there is something that happens with those homeless people and some people believe it's not very fair. So that was interesting to learn. Another thing I learned about Vietnam this week, or about where we're staying in Vietnam, Da Nang area, is it's not that easy to get Australian dollars exchanged. We went to 4 different banks and there was only one type of bank that was able to do it. Ended up getting it sorted, but that's something to know about, and we'll put it on the screen if you plan to come to Da Nang, which bank to go to if you're trying to convert Australian dollars. And I also wanted to mention what the budget for accommodation is here. We had a couple people saying, how do you budget this in? Basically, we strive throughout Asia to try and find a place for $50 and under, ideally with a gym, and sometimes even with a kitchen because we like to have some home-cooked meals. This one doesn't have a kitchen, it has a gym, it's super clean, and this one's only $38, and this is what you can get in Vietnam. And that's pretty incredible because this is quite a touristy, populated area, so I'm sure as you go a bit outside of this, it'll become even cheaper and more value. So yeah, it's pretty incredible what you can get for value in terms of food and accommodation and pretty much everything here.
And even like hiring a motorbike, a lot of the time your hotel will be able to give you access to one of their motorbikes, or they have somebody that they can message out to bring a motorbike. But just suss out if your hotel does have one or not. Suss the prices out because every place will have a little bit of a different price. But so far here in Da Nang, it's been super affordable. But one thing we have found are more expensive is the convenience stores. Their snacks and stuff seem to be a little bit more expensive, and it's good because it makes us not snack and you sort of spend your money on quality meals. So like we've been eating at this place called Bep Kung, which we showed last time in the video of like more traditional Vietnamese food, and like having 2 meals, coconuts, and sides of like say chicken wings or money bags or some other little things on the side, and the whole meal and the drinks cost us about $25 Australian. So which is amazing, because if that was in any other place, I feel like comparing it to prices back in Australia, that meal probably would have been like $60 to probably $80 with the drinks and stuff. So
yeah, it's been pretty incredible, and if you have thought about visiting Vietnam, then I highly recommend it, and we can't wait to show you more. So yeah, we'll see you in next week's video.
Stay tuned, y'all. Nah, not yet. Oh, shit.